Hi there, my name is ohSchnapp. I'm a VFX artist based out of Los Angeles. I've worked in the film industry, the animation industry, the game industry, and the commercial industry. And I also, in the past couple years, I've gone into drone racing and cinematography. So as virtual reality has progressed over the last couple of years, it only seemed natural that I dabble into that too. But I was really waiting for, the goggles to make it past the entry level stage, the first round, and really go through revisions because to me virtual reality means fully immersed, or as much as you can be immersed, and 90% of that immersion is going to be visual. So for me, the start point was the field of view. The field of view had to be as big as it could be, and with current goggles out right now, like let's say Oculus or Vive, the field of view I think is around 120 degrees, something like that. So you get the idea of immersion, but you're still kind of looking through these holes right here. And you get the sense of immersion when you move your whole head, so you feel like you're there, but you just feel like you're wearing a mask. You don't really feel like your eyes are in there. And with other goggles like Pimax, or like let's say something like Star VR, those both have around a 200-degree field of view. So instead of these little holes right here, it's almost like you have a bigger visor. So you feel much more immersed. So imagine like you're wearing a slightly larger motorcycle helmet or like a paintball helmet. That's going to be the level of difference compared to looking through these like spectacles that you get from Oculus or Vive. So that kind of brings me to the first item in this review, is really who should buy this headset. Just to kind of like situate these on like a virtual reality kind of like graph. Let's say Oculus and Vive are entry-level gaming headsets over here, and then you might have something like, and these are $400 or $500. Then you have the extreme industry headsets used for design, entertainment, for professionals that are tens of thousands of dollars, and those would have features like eye tracking. They might have 8K panels per eye, just much more resolution. They might be lighter weight. They might have different functionality. And Pimax is kind of right in the middle. Pimax is great because they have a couple different units: 5K plus, 5K XR, 8K. Originally, I guess they had the 4K, and now later this year they're coming out with a more rugged model of it, and that's I guess meant for more like theme parks, places where they're gonna drop it. People are gonna sweat a lot, so I guess it's waterproof. But basically, Pimax is right in the middle of that kind of VR spectrum. You're going to have to probably spend about $4,000 or $5,000, like as a total package, I would say, just if you want that like kind of like seamless experience. At least that's what I've found. But Pimax alone is probably only around $1,500 to $2,000, and the reason why I say that is you've got the goggles, which right now you can get the $800 5K plus, or say $800 5K plus, or the $1,000 XR, which is the OLED version of the 5K. Without getting too much into it, go ahead and get the OLED. I bought both. I tried both. Switched them back and forth, tried various games and whatnot. The darkness and the blacks are amazing on the OLED. You don't notice the persistence, the display persistence issue that you might get more of on the, the 5K plus version of the goggles runs at 90 hertz, which means that there's more frames per second. So your eyes have a better way to track that. The image on the screen is on there for less time before it switches to a new image, so you don't get as dizzy when you move your head so fast. But the OLED version, while it has better colors, and it also has a different what do you call it? Pixel arrangement. I guess it's pentagonal. But it's basically there's different number of subpixels, and you guys can Google that. It's really interesting. to know the science behind it, but you won't really notice that from the LED to the OLED display. And going from the hertz, the LED from 90 to the OLED, which is 82, you won't really notice those, you won't really miss those 8 hertz when you're moving your head, because the goggles, they're not super light. I think like I haven't held a Vive and a Pimax next to each other, because like a lot of times when I do Vive and Oculus, it's on dev floors like E3 or like out at other venues, and Pimax feels slightly heavier than Oculus, but because it's heavier, you're not going to be throwing your head all around like that. You're going to be moving like slow enough to where you know, it stays comfortably on your head. So go ahead, get the OLED. It's worth the extra $200. So yeah, hands down, get 5K XR for the current models right now. And again, that's going back to who should get this goggle. If you want to just get entry stuff all in one package that's like $400, Oculus Quest, whatever, no computer needed, that's great. You can play games like that. But if you want to do maybe some more development stuff, like twice the resolution of Oculus and just so much more immersed, like with the field of view, Pimax is amazing. Pimax is just like it is the best consumer goggle out right now that I've tried. I've tried Star VR, like I said, which had an amazing field of view, but Star VR, I think Asus took them proprietary, and the dev kit last year was around $3,200, and that's just the goggle. That does have things like eye tracking and maybe like a higher display, but I think they want to completely they seized all their units, so they want to take it in a more contained direction. Whereas Pimax is out right now, it's an amazing experience, and it's great. So just to talk about 2 more things about it. So like, let's say you get the XR, which the Plus and the XR look exactly the same. It's very durable. The plastic is, well, I haven't dropped it yet, but it feels durable. It doesn't feel like it's going to fall apart. And with some slight modifications to the goggles, it's very comfortable. I can tell that, with any type of goggle, it's hard to get it to fit for everybody's face. That's the first thing. And with virtual reality, your IPD, yeah, your pupil distance is very different and from person to person. And unless you have that perfect, it's going to be extremely blurry, or the 3D just won't be correct. So they have a nice like little hardware wheel down here or mechanical wheel to actually, I'm trying to get that in the light, there it is, to actually move the IPD. Then they've got a software offset to fix the convergence. So you can get the perfect distance that you need for your eyes. With that said, I noticed that I needed to move the mechanical wheel all the way over to one side, which the goggle, here, I'll turn them right side up. There we go. The goggles, so that means the lenses went all the way inward like that. And when I did that, there was no room for my nose. And for the first couple of months, what am I saying? First couple of times using it, I had to put a piece of foam right here. And see, I'm going to try and, yeah, I can angle it right like that. So you can see how there's not really a lot of padding here. It's just kind of a piece of cloth. And the lenses are right there. So like, if you're shaking your head all around, the lenses are bumping into your nose, the bridge of your nose, left and right. And, you know, if I moved them apart, my nose was much more comfortable, but it was blurry. I couldn't see. So that's maybe the one like suggestion that I'd have or not the one, but a big suggestion that I'd have in the next model is maybe add some more padding for your nose, because there's going to be people with different size bridge noses, different depths, and also with different pupil distances. So that'll need to be accounted for. So that was a big problem the first couple of nights, but I read online that a lot of people have solved this issue by buying this extra pad here, which is HTC Vive, I think Vive Pro padding, and you can get like a pack of 2 for maybe $20. And see, all I've done is just Velcro it right there, just some double-sided Velcro. So the original Pimax goggle pad is just this thing right here, and it's also Velcroed there. It goes all the way around. But I just put on this extra one here, and just pressing or having my face be slightly further back from the lens, from this bridge part, I can shake my head now and it doesn't smash into the lens. So maybe I get a little bit tinier field of view, just like maybe like 2 degrees less, not even that much, but it's comfortable. I can be in the headset for like at first I couldn't even do like 4 minutes. Now I can do like half an hour and stuff, you know, playing games like Arizona Sunshine or things that are crazy like Beat Saber, where you're moving all around, you're jumping and stuff, going left and right. You want it to be comfortable, you want it to stay fixed to your face, and you don't want it smashing around. You want to feel immersed. You don't want to feel like you're wearing anything or you're being restricted. So the next thing that I want to talk about is just PiTool, the tool that they include to it's like the little helper app for Pimax. So it's kind of like a way to make sure everything's running and see the status of everything in Windows before you launch Steam VR. And I recommend whenever you play with Pimax, always open the PiTool first, make sure everything's running perfectly, then open Steam VR either through the shortcut or through the PiTool. Because I've had times where I've had to reboot the service in, here I'll flip the camera around real quick. So I'll try and flip the camera. Maybe I can't flip the camera. I'll do this here. I'll just spin it like this. There we go. So I've had times where I've had to restart the service, so you can see it's disconnected right now. I've had to go into the settings, and there'd be a button in the HMD settings where I could reset the goggles or restart the service, and that would actually put it in the right orientation, the right space that it needed to be for Steam VR. Okay, so continuing, we were talking about Beat Saber before. Some of the Beat Saber songs are pretty difficult. Some of the horror games are pretty scary. When I get into the games, I sweat, and when that happens, the goggles start to fog up, and that was another kind of big thing for me. Again, like, I'm thinking of a slight modification that could fix it that I'm going to try on my goggles, and I definitely suggest to do it for yours. If any of you guys out there do race drones, you'll notice some goggles like Fat Shark's, they have a tiny little fan up on top. So with the goggles, with Pimax, suggestion maybe for another model would be 2 small fans above the lenses, or one small fan right there, like 16, I don't know how many millimeters, couple, centimeters, whatever, but 40 millimeters, I don't know, something like that, 20 millimeters, that would just sit right on top, and you could turn it on or off to actually defog the lenses. Because I noticed that I get almost halfway through a song, or not even, like a hard song, and if I'm not breathing out of my mouth instead of my nose, then the lens tends to fog up. And one of the reasons why it fogs up is because, another modification, I put a little piece of tape right here, because of this outer cushion, my face is slightly back, so I get a little bit of light leak down here, but this tape completely eliminates that light leak. So if I breathe through my nose, I know that definitely adds to fogging up, but putting a fan in there, something like super low cost or minimalistic, would be a great addition to the next goggles. So let's come over here. These are my current FPV goggles right now, and compared to, bring them over and I'll put them next to the Pimax, so you can see they're about the same size. I think the Pimax is slightly heavier, so if anybody out there does FPV, does headplay HDs, the Pimax would be slightly heavier, but you don't really, again, when you're doing VR, you're not you're not whipping your head around too often. So it's a really decent goggle, or it's a really amazing VR goggle for the size, for the resolution you get. So if you're worried about having something very heavy on your head, you don't really have to. I wouldn't say that's a big concern. All right, so just talking about next couple of things. Having some sort of okay. On the goggles, it's wonderful that we have buttons. We've got power button, we've got 2 volume buttons. I recently discovered these after like 3 days of messing with it, and I realized it changed the volume, and that's great because like the only thing that I needed to take my goggles off was to lower and raise the volume on the speaker, or on my speakers, and I couldn't find the wheel at all. Steam VR also has just a software audio volume limit, so you can change the Windows volume there. So that's great that it has the buttons on the goggles. It also has a little port, 3.5 millimeter for audio. I've noticed that I was doing Bluetooth audio at first with my Bose, going just to the speaker, 2.4. That had a delay, whereas if I used just the added cable, it didn't have a delay. So obviously you don't need this long headphone cable, but maybe something super short, and plugging it right in there, use your own headphones. It's great because you're not going to get any delay in sound, and you'll have in your headphones. And I've been playing a lot of my VR games with just the speakers in my room, so like I haven't really gotten the full 3D sound immersion like that. But the more horror games and stuff that I play, I'm noticing wearing those headphones, it's awesome. It's great. So big props to Pimax for putting the 3.5 jack as well as the volume controls there. So lastly, with the headset, the only thing that I could see becoming a potential issue down the road, or not even issue, but just I wish there was a little bit more forward thinking put into this, was the cable. The cable is a wonderful length. You're not going to, for the normal everyday user, you're not going to need a longer cable. However, I have the minimal space to play in Steam VR that they allow you to have, and I notice it pulling sometime at its limit. Or like, let's say if I do a lot of turns, then the cable gets twisted, then I have a little bit less of a cable, and I notice a little bit of tension. My computer is on the ground, so let me say right there is the desktop. The computer's right there, and I'm able to walk. Just hold back here. This is my entire play space. So if you can see just where the desk, the wall hits right there, and all the desks. So this square, I think it's like 6 by 5. I don't know. It's the minimal Steam space, but you guys can kind of see how long it is, or how big it is. It's great. It's perfect. I mean, Steam VR has this like nice little grid that shows up when you're getting too close. There's only been 1 or 2 times where I've hit the Vive controllers on my desk with Beat Saber. So I'd say, like, if you're new to VR, be very careful with the games where you're swinging stuff. It's super easy to hit stuff, and also always use these. This is a must. Okay, so again, with that kind of forward thinking about that cable, I kind of wish there was a detachable cable. I could totally see Pimax easily coming out with like a wireless solution like Vive did, and really I don't know how you're gonna do it with this model of the headset. There's not really a way to plug into here and do a module like that. You're not going to want to be holding on this cable and then plug in the cable there, because the other end of the cable has, I think, a display port, a power cord, and a USB. So that's that's way too much to be carrying around. Like I would have really liked to see a removable cord jack so you could plug something else in for later, or even a longer cord, because while this works for my space, I know some people are gonna, everybody should have a larger space than what I have here. This is like almost too small, I think, but I feel like the normal space is you're gonna run into that cord limit. And also on that cord limit, I think it's like 15 feet, but still, my computer's down there, and here, if I can grab it here, you guys can see I'm walking all the way over this way, so I can get to the corner of the wall over here, but you know, the cable's going to have to stay on the ground. I'm not going to be able to mount it on the ceiling or have anything like that. And I haven't really noticed the weight of the cable on my back or anything because I throw it over my back. So when I'm playing, it seems totally fine. But it would be great to have some sort of like cable suspension system and have that cable length to go around, but not have to have my computer on the ceiling. So again, for future models, maybe just like a disconnectable cable. I could also see it being a really good thing, like if, let's say, somebody yanks the cord or something, and like all of a sudden, you know, I don't know, like the MacBook Pros have their magnetic thing, just to prevent like you from pulling the computer tower over, because they're pretty well tethered to each other right now. Okay, cool. So moving onward, just few, not really, yeah, a couple more things. I chose to go with Vibe controllers and also Vibe trackers. Vibe controllers 1.0, you don't need 2.0, and also trackers base stations. That's what I mean by trackers. Base stations 1.0. I did a lot of research on this. The base stations 2.0 just have a wider field of view. You can do multiple users in there at the time. However, they don't work with 1.0 controllers, and I don't think they work with the Vive 1.0. And then also the big kicker on it is you cannot buy them separately right now. You can only buy them with the Vive Pro package, which is $1,500 or $1,600. If you break one, I have no idea what you do because you can't buy them as a replacement. So base stations on Amazon, they're like $120, and Vive controllers. You can play with one base station. It's totally fine to play like, the first game I got was like Project Cars 2. Just put the base station right in front of my monitor, and I could get my head moving side to side. I could do decent tracking on some games like Beat Saber. I could play Beat Saber with one tracker if I put the tracker off to the side and it kind of projected on me sideways, like let's say from the side corner. So like let's say if I put it in that corner over there and I stood in the center of the room, then as long as it got like a 3/4 perspective on me, it was fine. After doing that for a while, I really want to play the games where you actually can walk around, have room scale VR, like Arizona Sunshine. So got another tracker or another base station, and I would definitely say until the Pimax, I can't speak for the Pimax base stations or the controllers. They look amazing in the pictures. They're so super tiny and awesome. But I would say your best option right now, just get the Vive package. So, or not the package, but get 2 Vive controllers, get 2 base station 1.0s. Also, yeah, 2 1.0 controllers, 2 1.0 base stations. So originally when I said Pimax alone will be around like $1,500 to $2,000, that's because the goggles, if you get the OLED, are going to be $1,000, plus the 2 controllers and base stations, that's going to be another $600 or something. Plus if you need to mount them in your room, stuff like that, cables. So that's where that extra cost comes in, but it's definitely your best option right now. So I just wanted to talk about the mounting real quick. I've tried various mounting locations. I put this mount first on the door right here underneath it, and that was the temporary one, and I moved it over here. But when I moved it over here, I kept losing tracking in that back corner. Like that other tracker could see me, but just this small amount of distance from here to here, I got different results. So putting your trackers in and testing them, it's a really tedious process, like in Steam VR. But it's It really makes a difference if you take your time and do it, and put them in a good spot. For your trackers, I'd say put them very high and make sure they're angled down. So you can see the angle of this guy. You can see it's looking like down like that maybe, and you can see the other tracker over there. So if I walk over here, it's probably making you guys sick, I'm sorry. The other tracker's right there, and that's the temporary location. I'll probably put it up on that wall up there and then angled down. You really need it to see your hands. That's the big thing, your hands and your goggles. That's I noticed that if it doesn't see all three of those things, it really starts to get environment shifting, and it'll make you sick. Like it's it'll get offset. So it's really important for it to see, for the trackers to be up high across from each other as far as they can be, and angled down, but still seeing each other in view. It's possible to have them not see each other in view, but you're going to get an easier, better experience if they can see each other. Just talking about the room again, it's fairly light in this room right now. It has some bright windows. There are windows over there. The tracking works fine with that sunlight coming in. I haven't tried it with the windows completely open, but I know that it works pretty decent with the shades. So if you guys need to do like a little bit of blinds, then that can totally that can totally improve tracking. I would say that you want to eliminate as much IR light as possible and lots of sunlight, but it works great in this room. Okay. So then lastly, this is just added on with the Vive controllers, or sorry, with the base stations. I've read a lot of reviews saying that they burnt out after too much use, meaning like people plug them in and they leave them on for 24 hours a day for 9 months a year, and then all of a sudden they just don't work. And makes sense, it's like leaving anything on for that long. You need to turn it off, you need to give it a break, but it's understandable that you don't want to always be plugging stuff in, going underneath the desk, anything like that. So good solution that's safe for you guys to do is underneath here. I've got a surge protector with the Pimax. Hopefully you guys can see that black surge protector with the Pimax and 2 extension cords, and that's going into a wemo right there. Wemo. So I can say, hey Google, turn on VR.
Sure, turning on the VR.
And you'll notice the trackers come on, the Pimax comes on, and everything is taken care of. So I don't have to unplug anything. I don't have to. Yeah, I can look at the trackers so you can see the IR right there. And also I want to say these clamps. You can find clamps on Amazon. These are about $9. They're really helpful for screwing in and getting a nice little trackball mount for your Vive tracker, or Vive base station, and orienting it perfectly. Because again, every single little angle is important. Let's see. Oh, computer. Okay, so this is going back to the original thing with who should buy this. So the goggles, the controllers, base stations, that's around $1,500 to $2,000. The other cost that got it up to $4,000 to $5,000 was my computer. I had a good computer, like let's say 770 GTX with a NVIDIA Quadro 4000, i7, whatever. I had a decent computer, but a decent computer isn't good enough for VR, especially not Pimax. Pimax is, again, it's not the consumer side of the spectrum where Oculus and Vive is, and it's not the industry side where you need like a supercomputer. It's right in the middle. So in order to have a good experience with Pimax, you have to upgrade your computer. You just have to bite that bullet. So I looked online, looked at reviews, recommendations. Everybody seems to say go with a GTX NVIDIA GeForce 2080 Ti. It's a very expensive graphics card. It's about $1,400, but you can run VR perfectly fine. and full frames per second, full effects, maximum effects, shadows, ray tracing, yada yada, everything up at top. Like Cars is going 60 frames per second. Like it looks glorious and it looks amazing, and it's 2 4K monitors basically inside the goggles. So invest in your graphics card. Don't skimp out on that. You don't want drop frames in VR. It'll make you sick and it'll make you frustrated. So just get a GTX 2080 Ti. It'll be worth it. I think I got the MSI one. It was I'll grab it real quick. It was this one. So this one was great, $1,300. It was well worth it. On top of that, I also upgraded my CPU, i9 990K, something like that. Got RAM, DDR4, 3400 megahertz, and also got one of those M2 PCI solid state drive things. Definitely awesome. Put all your Steam games on it. Put anything that your VR movies on it. Anything that needs to read like instantly off onto your motherboard. And then I also got a new motherboard. So it really pays to upgrade your computer. VR is kind of a new era. It's like going from like PS3 to PS4. PS5 is coming out now. You have to upgrade your hardware. You're just not gonna have a good time if you don't. It's not gonna be worth the experience. So again, who should buy this goggle? If you want just an entry-level gaming goggle around $400 or so, don't have to have a super high-end computer. Go with the Oculus Quest. It's great. There's people running around in a field that I saw using it like that. It's all in the headset. That's great entry-level experience. If you're in the industry and you're working in super high development, anything like AutoCAD, Maya, entertainment, stuff like that, you're going for the tens of thousands of dollars goggles. But if you want something in the middle of that, where you can do a lot of prototyping, like on the development side, maybe some stuff in Maya, but have an amazing gaming entertainment experience, Pimax is really the best option right now. And I just say that with a lot of like happiness, because it's an amazing experience. It's what we and Connect were really trying to be like. VR, and Pimax is kind of really the first goggle, at least on a mildly consumer level, that brings you that experience that the first generation of VR should have brought you. So the last thing that I'll say, and this is really the last thing, is I just want to talk about Pimax's customer service, because they've been awesome. I've asked them a ton of questions, and they've gone back to me almost like within a day, within hours sometimes. They're really trying to help all you guys out. They're trying to provide great support. I had problems getting my controllers working. One of the customer service reps sent me pictures, a like step-by-step guide, how to like what things to click in the PiTool UI, how to resolve it. The first time I got a weird error message. He said, do this one other thing, and bam, it was fixed. So they've been super helpful, and they've just been they've been really great in bringing a product like this to consumers, putting it on Amazon, because it's this is kind of like I won't say third party, but it's not a mainstream VR device when it really should be. It's an awesome it's really, I think, the best VR goggle that's out right now. They're when you have to think about which one to get, if you have if you want to invest around $4,000 into VR and have the best home experience that you can, Pimax is the way to go. So yeah, that's my review. I strongly again suggest to get the OLED version. You will not be disappointed. It's amazing. I'm gonna go play some VR now.